the esophagus down just before it passes through the diaphragm. You can see this, the mucosa is all simple columnar epithelium. Contains literally thousands of goblet cells. And then you can see the submucosa here. Here's the muscularis externa, and then the serosa is the outer part. This is all here. This is the circular band, and here's the longitudinal band. So in the esophagus, those four layers begin and continue all the way down. The stomach itself is a just a storage tank. You can see where the esophagus enters into it right here, so the lower esophageal sphincter would be right here.
Is that also called the cardiac sphincter?
Cardiac sphincter, yep. And this region of the stomach is called the cardia. Now the dome part of the stomach is the fundus, and it's just a dome like this. And then the biggest portion is the body. You see it right here. This curve right here is the greater curvature, and here's the lesser curvature. And then you pass into what is called the pyloric antrum. And this is just sort of like a waiting room before substances pass through the pyloric canal, through the internal, or the pyloric sphincter right here, into the duodenum. And as food enters into the stomach, it is lined with rugae. You can see these ridges right here. Rugae are just ridges within the stomach. They allow for distension of the stomach or expansion of the stomach, and that's what allows you to accommodate the mass of food. Now the stomach is different from the rest of the GI tract in that it contains three muscular layers. The outer layer is the longitudinal. The middle layer is circular, and then it has an inner oblique layer, which you can see right here, which runs the opposite direction. The reason for that is because the stomach keeps churning the food. It moves it down and moves it back up, and moves it down, moves it back up. And in doing that, then it moistens the food, it exposes it to the hydrochloric acid and the digestive enzymes in the stomach, and turns it into a pasty mass that is called chyme, C-H-Y-M-E. As I mentioned, it's quite acidic in here. The pH is 1 to 2. Now, if you took hydrochloric acid and put it under your skin, what would happen? It'd burn right through, wouldn't it? In your stomach, there are goblet cells, mucus glands, that produce a thick layer of mucin. Here you can see the rugae right here. But the mucus cells produce a nice thick layer of mucin. It is lined, the stomach's lined with simple columnar epithelium, but on the surface here is a nice thick layer of mucus. And that's what keeps the hydrochloric acid from eating through into the stomach wall. The cells of the columnar cells are attached by tight junctions, which sort of act like belts and prevent the seepage of the acid down through between the cells. And then down in these are called the pits of Leberkuhn down here. This is down where the gastric cells, and chief cells, and parietal cells are that secrete the acid. So it secretes up into the lumen of the stomach and brings about the acidification of the food itself. Now, if the gastric juices make their way through to the stomach lining, they will begin to erode away and eat away at the stomach lining, and those are called gastric ulcers. It used to be thought that that was due to stress, diet, any number of things, but about 80% of most ulcers are due to a bacterium called Helicobacter pylori. I don't have a picture of that. It's a long worm-like bacterium that will, once it's introduced into the stomach, gets underneath the mucosal layer, breaks it down, and allows the gastric juices to eat away at the stomach lining. You can see this is an actual picture right here of a gastric ulcer. Here's another one right here. That bacterium, the way they treat it nowadays is to put a person on antibiotics. They usually put them on cyclosporines or or some type of antibiotic that will kill off the bacterium. They also give them antacids, as well as what are called proton pump blockers. You've probably heard of Pepsin or Prilosec, Nexium. Those drugs block the synthesis of hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, the hydrogen ion is considered as a proton. And so these proton pump blockers, Prilosec and Nexium, block the synthesis of the hydrochloric acid. The other treatment is to put them on a histamine 2 blocker. Probably heard of Zantac or Cimetidine, Pepsid. Those are H2 receptor blockers. They block the synthesis of histamine, and histamine leads to the increased production of hydrochloric acid.